Okay. Yeah, so we need two endpoints for registration and login. So one is to this endpoint and another endpoint is actually the same, like but this time for the login. And both of them are post method because in both of them we expect the data that is coming. Registration, we need the registration data. The login, we need the login data like email, password, or username and password. So let's build them. We're gonna say the AUTH router dot. If there is a post request coming to slash, what should I put here? Do I need to add something or no? And why?
What do you mean to add something?
I mean, like, is the endpoint correct in this way? Like this one, and then async our rec.
No, I think we had to use also instead of slash.
We should use what?
Auth or register.
Yeah, exactly. The register. You're completely fine. The reason is that we have to just be more specific, like in this case, register. Because if you check in this file, we have two methods, the same method, post and post. And if you don't identify which post you mean, like if there is a post request coming to a slash API slash auth, and you identify to which one should go, it always goes to the first one. Because if it's a post method to this one, it comes here and never goes there. So you have to be more specific in this case. You need to say, okay, it should be for registration. Let's say register. Then you can define here register. Yeah. Then in this case, yeah, because we have the post method, the same method in this, then if a request is coming with post method, then how we separate it not to go there, to go here, then with the link. So it should have this endpoint, slash API slash register. Then it comes here. But if at the end is a slash login, then it comes here. Okay, makes sense? All right. Try catch. Try and catch. There's a problem. When I use this next for error handling and a status and a message inside, where does it go? Because we've learned that this next, when we prepare a status, let's say a status, I'm gonna blame when someone is registering and there is an error happening, it could be front-end problem or 400, let's say, and the message could be whatever is the message is happening, message.error. Where does this go? Is there a message coming? Global error handler, fantastic ism. But there is a problem. We don't have global error handler. Yeah? Where should I create the global error handler?
server.js.
In server.js, where? Here, 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 or here, or here, or here. Doesn't
After
matter even
11?
where. Sorry?
After line 11?
After line 11. Why here? Why not here? Or why not in between? Somewhere here.
Maybe because we can have also a global error handler at author router.
No, we have only one. Yeah, exactly. You are right. Fantastic. And Mickey says, what if an error happens here? If the global error handler is defined before, like somewhere here, yeah, then whatever happens an error inside of this file, then doesn't have access to the global error handler. Like global error handler was defined here before that, and the error just cannot find it. That's why we define the global error handler at the very end, like the last middleware, so to say. That whatever can happen everywhere in the file, in any route, in any file, the global error handler is defined at the end. It's going to catch the error somewhere here. The next, actually, when you use next, it's going to send the error to the last global error handler. Yeah? That's why we define it at the last one, actually. So app.use, for every request that is coming, now we don't say to which route, because we don't want to specify that to which route. We say doesn't matter. To any route. When you don't specify anything, then it means to any route. With 4 parameters, rec, I think error, rec, res, and next. This is a special middleware that has 4 parameters, because all the other middlewares we have 3 of them, rec, res, next, but the global error handler has 4 parameters, okay, with 1 more, which is an error. So the next keyword is sending the error to this one, and the error comes inside of this argument, and inside of that we will have a status and a message. So what we do, we say restart. We're gonna from here then send a response to the front end, the error response. The status will be inside of the error, inside of here, dot status. If there is no status provided, it could be. We want to send another one just by default, 500. And now let's send a message, an error message. So the error message will be whatever is coming the error from here, that message inside, if there is no message provided, we say or, then just a hard-coded message. Let's say something went wrong, let's say. Yeah. So that's the part that's when we say next and we put a nice object there with a status code and with an error message, then it will be sent here, and here prepares a nice response with a status code and with a message to send it to the front end as a response. All right. And if you want, you can take this, put it into the middlewares folder and just import it. yeah, for more clean code. Let's go to where we were. AUTH router, yeah. Let's first of all get rid of this error. It's just making me crazy. It's about AUTH router is not defined, and it's telling me from where it's coming. It's coming from server.js line 11 because we are using this, but it's not defined. It means we didn't import it. First, let's export the router. And let's import it in the server. Import AUTH router from the routes.auth.js. Everything should be fine now. All right, let's build the registration. Whatever you do, registration is like saving a data, saving a resource in your database. In this case, is a user. So you need to know that what do you expect from the user? Yeah, whatever we expect from the user, it's defined from our schema. Our schema is telling, if you want me to save a user in database, it should have all of these parameters in the body of the request that is coming. A username, email, password, and age that they are required, and this one by default will be automatically added, so no need. Yeah. So in real application, you have to have a middleware. What we did, user validation. You're gonna validate if the email is email, if the password is a strong. What we did a couple of days ago. But we're gonna just get rid of that part for now. Yeah, you can add it later. So I expect a body of the request that is coming, and I'm gonna take it and save it to the database. So new user equals to await. We need our model. The model that we need is user model, responsible for saving or doing stuff. The user model dot create. What we want to create is inside our rec.body that is coming. When it's successfully done, we send a response. First with a status code. Status code 200 or 201, which means created dot send, and we want to send new user to the front end. That's it. If something goes wrong, oh, I have error. Module not found. Models user model. I think there is no .js at the end of it. Oh, make sure you have it. If something goes wrong, we will do this. But tell me, is it complete or something is wrong about this? Who can tell what? Do we need to do something before we save the new user in our database? I'm gonna test it anyway. Let's see before you answer my question. So a post request to http / localhost /777 not /port /API /auth /register. So I need to define the headers. The content type that I'm sending is application JSON, and let's register user. So our schema expect a username, which is something for now as an example, and email will be something at gmail.com. The next thing will be password, which is Let's keep it short for testing. And then what else was it? Age. And the age must be a number, so let's say 28. That's it. Let's test it. So, bang. Message is not defined. So, let's go. What's the problem? I can have a typo because an error could happen and it's telling me message is not defined. It could come because I'm not using a stack trace error. I cannot see from where it's happening. Yeah, if we need, maybe we need to console log the entire error, but I suppose it's coming from where is my server.js? Server.js. I think it's coming from here, maybe global error handler. Or in the user model, auth user, somewhere here. Message.error. You know what? I need to console log the error. CLG. The entire error. Error in auth router, let's say. And also I would like to console log the entire error in my global error handler. So let's also here console log error global. So error, this entire error that's coming from here. Oh, what? Yeah. Okay, let's test it again. Make the request. Fine. I see now a stack trace from where it's coming. We can debug it. We go scroll up, scroll up, scroll up, and we see that error in auth router happening. Rec is not defined. It's coming from at this address inside of routes auth router.js line 12. So it's coming from here. Can you find out why it's complaining about rec? It says it's not defined.
It's a mistake, line 9.
Yes. Fantastic. We were able to debug an error. Let's now make the request again. Bang. Message is not defined this time. Reference is error global error handler. Message is not defined, which is coming from the line 17 in the JS. So line 17 of JS here. The message, yeah, it's my mistake. We don't have a message.error, we have error.message. Alright, vice versa, because that's the error, inside of it there is a message. Error.message. And the funny thing is, you guys don't tell it to me. I don't know why. Alright, let's do it. Bang. Now the 400 error. We have a new fantastic error with a nice message. Fantastic. Everything is working. Bad request. User validation failed. Edge path is required. Password is required. This is required. Email is required. Why it's like kind of cannot read the rec.body. It seems like this thing is not readable. Your database is not happy with that. Yeah. Even we can console log the rec.body to see what's wrong. So in the auth router, this rec.body that we send into a database is really unhappy with that. Database is telling you didn't provide me anything. Let's see why we didn't provide anything. Rec.body. Let's make the request. Bang! Look at that. This is the console log actually. Undefined. Let me get rid of this a lot of extra console log. We don't need it. I'm gonna get rid of this part. Yeah, that's better. So let's test it again. Bang. You can see that's the console log that is showing us rec.body is undefined. Why? And how to solve it?
Do we need to destructure? Not.
The structuring is just destructuring. You can do that or you cannot. It's fine. But you cannot destructure something from something that is undefined. This is totally undefined. What do you want to destructure? What is this line for? Someone explain me in plain English language. Why do we need this?
To read the doc data.
No.
JSON format.
No. I told it thousands of times to you guys. That's inside of headers of the request. We know that the request consists of three parts. The request has links and endpoints, your URL. The request, they have headers that you can put some bunch of information. The request, they have body of the request, which is the data. And the header is an information, like this line is information about this data to your server. Actually, this line is talking to your server. It's telling, hey server, this server file that you have. Hey server, the request that is coming to you, this body of the request that I'm giving to you, it's a JSON, like it's a JavaScript object. Why it's telling that? Because when we send the data, it's totally string. Everything is stringified. Yeah, it's garbage for the server. So this means your server cannot understand string. It's just a garbage string. It's just a text. And because it's a text, the server doesn't know that. Okay, it's a garbage string. But this line is talking to your server. Yeah, it's a garbage string, but I stringified that. But the real data is an object. When you tell that to your server knows that, okay, when the request is coming, if there is a body of the request inside, I need to convert back the string inside of the body, or to parse it back to normal JSON. And there was a middleware that we were doing that. Do you remember that?
It's app.use express.json.
Fantastic. That's the one. So this middleware is only running, which is a function, so to say. It's running when a request is coming. Doesn't matter which kind of request, doesn't matter. So how do I know doesn't matter which kind of request get put post? Because we use use, so to say. Use means for every kind of the request. And also we didn't define any route for that, like to make it a specific route. We said no matter which route, no matter which method, when the request is coming, first go through this, check the headers. If the header says application JSON, then it means there is a data in the body, parse it back to normal object. And then it's readable for the server. Okay? After that, which is parsed back, then it goes to find the correct endpoint. Is it clear? Does it make sense? All right. Let's run it again. Bang! It should be successfully registered. But there is a security issue, and we need to solve that. Do you think before saving this to data, this user to our database, what should we do?
Hash password.
Fantastic, bingo. We don't want to save the raw password inside of the database. Yeah, we talked about that. We want to first hash it and replace it and then save it. Great, let's do hashing. All right. We use bcrypt for hashing, correct? So this means const hashed password equals to we need bcrypt. I think we installed that, correct? At the beginning, if I remember. Yeah, we installed it. So let's import. You know what? I'm gonna destructure it straight ahead. Maybe it's working. I'm gonna take the hash and also compare method for later when we want to log in. And now let's hash the password. And for hashing the password, we provide the rec.body.password inside. This is the raw password. And salting, how many times? 10 times. It's returning a promise, which means I need a wait. Okay. When the password is hashed, I'm going to replace it with the raw password. So I'm going to say rec.body.password. What is this construct? So rec.body, inside of it there is the raw password we have. I'm going to replace it with hashed password. When we replace that, then we save it to the database. Alright, let's see now. I'm gonna register something2 with something2 email with the same password. Let's see. Bang. Fantastic. Password is saved as a hashed. Is it working on your side also? Great. There is another security issue that we yesterday learned. That still, we receive the password in the response, correct? We don't want that. We don't want to send this in the response. Do you remember it? How to do it? For example, if I want to get all of the users that I have, it sends also the password of the user in the response. It's so bad. Okay, so we shouldn't do that. Help me to do it. Do you even get the problem? What's the problem? Like, do you understand the problem? Then why don't you ask, Shinedu? Why don't you say, I don't understand? What's the question? Or anybody else?
Sorry, I don't understand the question.
The question is like, we send still some sensitive information to the front end, which is the password, because we don't want, anyway, we hash the password, it's secure anyway. But when we send a response, a user information to the front end, we don't want to send the password, even it's hashed. We know that the hash passwords can be cracked anyway. Yes, Jakub says we need to modify, so to say, and delete the password from the response. It's what we did yesterday. And I'm really, really demotivated now that what we did yesterday, you don't know. It should be fresh data to you. Yeah, what I wanted to do, let's do it. Yes, Jakub. It's inside of the user schema. There are some methods. Yesterday we talked about it. A lot of methods is inside. One of the methods is the .2JSON, exactly. The .2JSON, I think we write it with capital. It's something like that, if I'm not mistaken. This 2JSON is responsible for sending these responses, yeah, preparing your object and sending that. We want to somehow rewrite it in another way. We want to say, yeah, do whatever you do, but just get rid of the password. Don't send this one, yeah. Which means we want to write it with another function, or just update the function, so to say, with another function. And we've learned that there is a this keyword which is referring to the current user or the current data. Const. Let's say it's about user. Say the user, if you want to send the user to the front end, this referring to the user, actually, the user object. So if I try to console log this, console log user, yeah, I have a typo because it's not an arrow function, it's declared function, so get rid of this arrow. Just as a review, this. So when you make a connection to your database, it means you're running this schema. When you run the schema, this function also will be running. And when we receive a response, this function is running actually. When it sends a response, this function is doing the job to send the response. And we say just console log this, what is referring to. And if I just try to make a request, you can see this is referring to the object of each user in this case. Or if you register, it refers to the new user. Yeah. We want to say, hey, this, get rid of the password. Just delete the password. All right. The reason that you receive a response as null because we're not returning the user. It's just we console logging that for now. Where is the schema? Yeah. We just console logging. We need to return the user anyway, like something like that at the end. Return user. But before returning the user, we needed to delete the password. We've learned that we cannot use the delete method to delete this password because delete keyword or delete method is a method for objects. And yesterday we've learned that this is looking like an object. So this is a BSON type from MongoDB. It's looking like an object, but really it's not an object. That's why we say this, make it to object. To object. I think that's a method. Yeah, itself is correct. When we make it to object, now we can use this delete keyword. We can take the user object and get rid of the password, delete it from the response. Also, we can delete the versioning. So we can say user dot underline v, that version that is coming. And after that, we can send the user, just return the user. Let's get rid of this one. Yeah. Let's test it. So if I get now the users, it's working. There is no versioning inside, there is no password inside. Very secure. So when we send a response about user, we don't send at all any information about the password of the user. Doesn't matter if it's hashed or not, but we don't send it. Fantastic. Let's also finish our logging endpoints that the user can successfully log in, and then we can go to the front end. And I'm afraid the front end is not going to be finished, so we're going to continue after lunch. Because it's a review day anyway, so we do the review for the whole day. Yeah. So let's go to next endpoint. Before I continue, is it working for everyone? Do you have any error that you want to solve and share your screen? Yeah, so it's working for everyone. Okay. The next endpoint is for logging in. So we can say AUTH router dot, again, a post method. When there is a request coming to localhost 77/API/auth/login, then we want to handle this async with a request next. Yes, let's have a try and catch. And we have a bunch of stuff to do. So the first thing is we need credentials in rec.body. So there is a credentials coming in the request, either email and password or username and password. You decide which one for your front end. So when we have that, we need to go, the second is finding the user in database based on email or user name. 3, if we find it, if we have such an email, in our database, then we want to check the password. We want to say comparing password if it's correct. The next step is, if it's correct, then send response with successful message. Yeah, this is the procedure. So when a request is coming, we need the credentials inside of the body of the request. And this time I want to go with email. Yeah, so I expect, let's destructure them. I expect an email and a password from the request, rec.body. This is the first step. The next step is let's find it by email. So const find user, waiting, our user model dot find one, and we're going to find it by email. The email that is coming from the body of the request. Fantastic. Now you have to do also error handling. If we don't find user, we prepare a nice error message, status 404 with a message you don't want to leak information. We talked about it, about the logging in. You don't want to say if the password or email is wrong. Yeah, we can say email or password is wrong. Or we can be more specific. If we don't find it, we can say we don't have such a user. Oh, let's keep it like this. And return. Yes, Mickey.
I have a question. Why a structured email password and then at find user you use only email? Because we don't want to show password, or?
Can you ask your question again?
Line 33, you are destructuring email and password.
Yes.
In line 35, you are using only email and fine.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, the reason is that it's a very good question. Like the question is, Mickey asking, why am I finding the user with only email, not also with password, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, fantastic. First of all, you cannot find it based on the password because the password is hashed. Yeah, and the password that is hashed in our database, we cannot find it based on the raw password that's, because the raw password will be something like 123, and if you search a user that has a password with 123 password 123, you cannot find that user because you hash this password, and the hashed one is something like a mumbo jumbo. Yeah, and the next thing is maybe 1, 2 or 3 users, they have the same password. When you try to find one user with 123, then it may give you the first match. Let's say user Isam, Miki and Lotfi, they have the same password as 123, and you're trying to find a user with the password 123. It gives you the first match. Let's say the order of saving in your database is first Lotfi, then it gives you the Lotfi. Maybe the person that is logging is Isam. You know, does that make sense what I'm telling? That's why the yeah.
Sorry, but then why you type const email passwords equal to rec.body, and why you don't type just email?
Because I need both of them from the body of the request. Because first I need email, because I want to find who has this email in my database. Yeah.
Okay.
When I find it, then I want to check if the password they're giving to me is matching the password when they registered. Yeah, this is the next step actually, like the third step. Yeah, hope that's clear.
Yeah, thank you.
Great. So that's why we first find it by email, or if you are using username for logging in, then username. In this case, we just chose for this time email. We find who has this email provided in the request. Who wants to log in actually? They provided an email and they provided a password. When we find that user, if we don't find it, we say, okay, it doesn't exist or whatever. But when we find it, then we want to check now if the password they provide is correct. Now we need the password from the request. So we can say const password is, let's say like that, is password matching. Yeah, and then we want to now check if the password matches or is correct with when they registered. We need the bcrypt again for the comparing. The compare function that we just destructured in the top from bcrypt. And the compare receives two things. The first thing is the data coming from the request, and the next thing is the one that we encrypted inside of the database. So here will be the password that we just destructured, this one. That's why now we need it. We want to compare this with the one we saved into our database. What we saved in our database is inside of the find user variable dot password. So the compare method is returning promise. Which means we need a wait. So if they match, it returns Boolean, true or false. So if they don't match, which means if the password is wrong, is if not, or if it's false, you would say an error. Status 401 and a message. We don't want to say password is wrong. We would just want to say email or password is wrong, and then return. If the password matches, it comes here, then it means fantastic. The email that they put into the input, it was correct. The password was correct. Then let's just let them in. Rest.status 200 with the message send. That's just a little message for now, because this part later will change in the future. What we send when someone is logged in, we send something else actually, not a message. But for now, let's send a message. You are successfully logged in. Okay. During all of these things, if something goes wrong, then we want to also catch the error here. Again, another status. It could be anything. I'm gonna blame 400 and a message which will be error dot message. Whatever happened actually. Let's try to log in. I know I have such a user in my database. You can see something 2 with email something 2. I want to get login, and let's see. So let's separate with another post method. So post HTTP yeah, this time is login. Definitely content type, because we're sending some data. You need to specify the content type is application JSON. So we wanted email and password to be logged in. So providing the email. The email is, let's say, gmail.com. So someone is trying to log in with this email and with this password. Let's say 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's make the request and let's see. Bang! Fantastic. It's working, the error handling. Email or password is wrong. We don't say anything, but you know, it's a leaking information also that I put it there as a 404 because it's telling not found 404. And we know that we don't have such a user in our database. jgmail.com doesn't exist. That's why we're telling 404 not found. Or better, I'm going to change this, the email does not exist. That's a better thing because it's not leaking information anyway. But when they try to log in and the email exists and the password is wrong, we can say one of them is wrong, not to specify which one. I would like to change this message to something else. The first one, because the error coming from here, it couldn't find the email in our database. I'm going to say user or email does not exist. That's a better error message. Only here we say email or password is wrong. Let's see. Email does not exist. Okay, let's try the email that I have. Something I think I have. Bang. You can see this time it was there, the email, but the email or password is wrong. That's the information, another information. In this case, the password was wrong, and I think the password of something is 23D2. Let me try 23D2. Bang. Oh, it's wrong.
It's something too.
It's something too. Ah, yeah, you're right. Let's see. Bang. Fantastic. We are successfully logged in. That's how actually logged in works. Is it working for you? Jakub says yes. How about others? Or you're not just following, you just stopped following?
Yeah, as always, I stopped following I stopped coding along at the point because I find it difficult. I want to write something and then you speak and then I lost the point. So
Okay.
to concentrate and understand what you say and what you do.
All right, it's all good. The main thing is you guys understand. And the main thing is you can say stop anytime. Because I think coding along is more important than just listening. Because you get error, and the error, you share your screen, we solve the error. And the other thing is control my pace. If I'm too fast, because I'm explaining something, suddenly I really don't know what is the pace. And you can just say it's too fast. I can just be slower. Yeah, so you can say that. I think our backend is almost ready for the registration and then logging in. Alright, we have 2 endpoints for register and login. We have only 1 endpoint for getting the user, I think, all the users. So right here. And I have 2 users in my database. The next step is front end, preparing 2 forms, registration form, login form, making the request. When the user is in successfully, then we redirect them to another page, or if the error, we show the error somehow. Yeah, this is the next step. Do you have power for that, for the front end? Alright. You know what? Let's go to break, because if you don't have a question, we still have 7 minutes to break, but let's go to break. We can have more breaks till 1 we come back, and then we continue with the front end. Alright? Let's go then, if you don't have a question. Alright. Have a good lunch. Do you need the code to be pushed if you want to continue from this code?
Yes.
For sure, I'm going to send it now. Get commitments. Both Fullstack backend finished. Okay, push. Alright, you can have the code, so enjoy your break.